Hello, people that like to dispense small amounts of fluid at one time. Okay, anyways, these are marketed as nail polish remover dispensers. You know, nail salons, they can get the acetone to wipe off nail polish. Nothing against wearing nail polish, it's just not my thing. So I use these dispensers to dispense isopropyl alcohol so I can clean off models and possibly some extra paint when I screw up my paint jobs on my model kits and stuff like that. So I bought these years ago, like maybe 10 years ago, at least 5 years ago. I bought two of them. And for some reason, this thing doesn't work as well anymore. So I'm going to open this up and show you what's going on. I like the fact that it's clear, obviously. This is glass, so being heavy, it doesn't want to move around very much. Whereas this is plastic, but it's still with liquid in it. It's quite heavy. But an empty one, you know, it's got to knock over. It's actually a very cheap cap. But it doesn't lose much fluid as long as you put the cap on. And theoretically, this should last forever. This looks like it's some sort of, steel with chrome plating and stuff. And what you do is you push down on this and you can see it pumps up a little bit of alcohol or acetone or whatever you put inside of this thing. This thing is made of all metal and glass, so you could theoretically put gasoline in here or whatever, paint stripper or some sort of other volatile thing. Just, probably want to wear gloves if you go like crazy stuff like that in there. But before, this thing would bounce back very easily. Now watch, if I push, see, I have a hard time pushing it down and it just doesn't want to spring back like it used to. So let's take a look inside this thing and see what the heck is going on. See, it's all chrome steel or brass maybe. It's definitely not plastic. And then this top part unscrews. There's a little thread lock or something like that. There's a little ball in here. There's a little valve right there as well, or some sort of piece of metal. Oh, maybe that's just this thing, so it doesn't just splash up like a geyser into your face. But there's that ball right there. That's part of the pump mechanism. Then this bottom half, you can also hopefully see there's supposed to be a ball down there. So we unscrew this. Again, it looks like it's all metal. Nothing in there. This is brass, right? So that doesn't rust. In here, there's a spring that pushes against that brass thing. And at the bottom is that another ball. So what happens is this plunging action, it sucks, the ball moves up as this moves, the spring pushes this forward and it sucks the alcohol and pushes it out. And then I guess when the ball closes and opens, whether it's going up or down, one of the other sides. Alright, but looking at this being brass, it doesn't look very scratched up. It's definitely patinaed. There's also a ball in here. That's another part of the valve mechanism. And this is supposed to unscrew, but for some reason I can't get it to do it. Maybe it's thread locked or something. Looking inside of this thing, what do we have? I would say it looks generally smooth in there, right? I don't know how there could be grime. All I've ever done is put isopropyl alcohol into this container. So it's weird. It's a mystery. But this is like this friction here. See? It's a little bit... There's something grabbing it inside. So, yeah, it's strange. I don't want to really use this anymore. I'm going to put it back together. The spring, that thing, the plunger, and then I got to screw it up in here. And see, you see there's a gap on this side? No gap on this side. But it doesn't want to center itself. So something is causing a lot of friction because it's not centered properly. I don't know how this could have happened. I never dropped it. All I do is do that, push down. So I can't even. Yeah. Anyways, it did last several years. I will give it credit for that. It wasn't expensive either. But I just want you to be aware of this, because if you buy it, you're thinking it's going to last forever like I did. It's not the case. My other one does still work, but who knows for how much longer. Alright. Oh, look at this. This is even cracking. It's that old. It's not like I screw it down a lot. So, yeah, this steel is actually cracked. That's kind of crazy. I guess I am going to have to lose this. It's just going to evaporate moisture out of there. It does have this foam washer that helps, but... Alright, so the plastic one, this is very cheap as well, and I've been using this, I don't know, 5 years maybe? So not an issue. This test has everything in the pump mechanism. You can see there's a ball on the bottom, a spring here, probably maybe a ball up at the top, I'm not sure. I like this little flip cap, and it's got 3 little spouts. But I will say, if you press this down fast, it might go shooting up into your face. So if you want to properly use this thing, just for fun, let's do it the improper way. Yeah, see, if that gets into your eye, that's not going to be a good day. You have to go to the hospital or rinse it out or something. So the intention, though, is you just take a rag or whatnot and do that, and you just wet the thing, right? So here's a, hold on, let me dry that out, see how much this thing puts out. So here's a dry microfiber, one push down, about that much. Alright, so that, I don't know, maybe it covered like a third of this fabric. So I decided to just buy another one, knowing this metal one is going a little bit crazy. And you'll see it's a different design. I don't know if the pump is the same. This is a much clearer body. This is very, very cloudy, right? You can barely see my hand through it. Whereas I prefer this one. It's got a rounded top and bottom chin. This is more squarish. Obviously it's rounded, but not as drastically as this one. The pump does look very similar, right? There's a ball, a spring. Can't really see what's going on up there. A little washer to keep it. Ooh, that's weird as well. You see how this surface should be touching this, I think, that white thing, so it locks in the moisture. But this thing looks like it's just going to sit inside this hole. That's not going to really seal the moisture. This one never dries out. Let's see. This is fine. You see, it's got this thing, but that white washer hits this surface of the screw thing. So I think that's a reason why this thing almost loses no alcohol through evaporation, because that's airtight, and then that's a pretty good tight fit as well. I do have a suspicion this one is going to evaporate a lot more, but I might be wrong. Let's take this alcohol here. That's a shame. I really like this design. Being a cone is very stable and heavy as well. Granted, if you drop it on a hard surface, that'll be a disaster to clean up. Alright, so now we have this cover, and it does seal against this black here, so I do feel that's a pretty good, well, there's a little bit of air that's going to help it evaporate there as well. But I do think this inner disc is touching the inside surface of the cap. So this is sealing up against that a little bit. Although right here, no, air gap. So this is not the greatest design. It's cheap, but it's not the greatest design. One thing I do like, though, is you just don't have exposed holes here. So the liquid is going to flow sideways and not straight up into your eyeball. That's the impression I'm getting here. Yeah, that's weird that washer is not bigger. Oh, wait a second. I'm gonna take this one. I can do it later, since this is ruined anyways. That's how I'm gonna airproof mine. I guess the real test is, let me just close this pretty tight. Close this. I guess if you leave it there and it starts dripping, it's obviously leaking out a lot of alcohol. But so far, I don't see anything leaking out. Maybe it is an okay design. Alright, I'm just a pessimist. So, doing it quickly, well, I'm going to prime it. Oh, wait, no. Alright, it's flowing already. I'm going to do it the stupid way, and it's going to shoot sideways, but I have a camera in front of me, so it can't mess up my eyes. Yeah, see? I think it's better that it shoots out sideways than upwards, so there's less chance of it spraying into your eye. Okay, so let's dry that off. And I have a new alcohol thing. Let's do one pump. I would say it's the same amount. So, one pump, This one is just a much bigger reservoir, and so that could be a benefit to you. So when I wash my bad paint jobs, on this one I very often close this a little bit and do that because I know it's going to spray up. See, it literally sprays up against the inside surface. But this one, I don't have that desire because it just shoots sideways. If I do it slowly, it's not an issue. Then I take this and whatever, clean my models off and stuff like that. I do believe this came in different sizes if you want to have a bigger reservoir. I don't even know what size this is. It just says polypropylene. Doesn't say how many milliliters. But I'll leave a link for you. I'm not sure if I can find a link for this one. If I can, I'll leave a link for that as well. This is also polypropylene. Yeah. I do feel like this is more airtight. I don't see as much of a gap here. And it's just, since I've owned it for several years, no, it is gappy there. I guess it just doesn't lose much alcohol because it's all kept underneath that pump. But anything up here will eventually evaporate. Quick review. Well, gee, it's 11 minutes after all. So in summary, this is nice and all, but it's not going to last, even though it's made of metal. This has lasted for quite a while. Being plastic, I can't imagine it's going to break very easily. I think the only major part that might break was really if you open and close this a million times, eventually it's going to fatigue and crack off. But even if the hinge cracked off, you might be able to still put this cap back on and keep it from evaporating a lot of fluid. Okay, so that's it. We'll see you in the next random product review. Bye.